Well, good evening, everyone. Hope you are all having a wonderful evening. I'm still trying to work out the kinks on this new computer here, but thus far it's been a rough ride. Let's just say that. How's everybody tonight? Glad that you made it here, and let's do some shout outs. So we got Miss Kenono Show here. Hello, hello. Linda Faust is here. Jim Bennett is here. And Remo J saying thumbs up, crafters. Thank you, Remo. And Barb McKinley is here. She's saying hello to everybody. We got Cutie Rupert. Aloha, Miss Cutie. Hi, how are you? Let's see. Guess who it is? It's Miss Nancy. Hello, hello. And Debbie Ott is here. Sandra K is saying hello to everybody. And Jean Captain Stitches is here. Hello, hello. And Terry saying hello. And Miss Kim Burris. How you doing, Kim? Hope you're feeling better. Where did I leave off? There we go. Okay, Donna Hoffler saying hello to everyone. Hello, Donna. Glad you made it here tonight. And hey, Miss Jackie. How you doing, girl? And Katie Crafts is here. She's saying hello. And Judy Hebert is here. Hey, Judy. Oh, okay. Still trying to work out the kinks on this. I know the countdown wasn't working. Well, it was working on my end, but I know the visual wasn't there, so you just saw empty white box. Sorry about that. I kind of need to reset up some things on this computer. Alrighty then. Margaret Hassler is here. Hello, Margaret. Okay. Nanamona, hello, hello. I see you waving, girl. So, okay. If I missed anybody, I do apologize about that. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the microphone here. So, you get a wider screen, or you get a wider shot with this particular camera. So, hope it's hope at least the visuals a lot better for you guys. This is not a new camera. This is the camera I usually take when I'm out and about hiking on the trail. So if you see any video from me where I'm out, yeah, this is the camera I'm using. What am I working on tonight? Well, for those of you who caught, I kind of did like a unannounced impromptu live on Saturday night, and almost done with this quilt, so I'm gonna finish it tonight. We're gonna start sewing the rows together. I do need to make my corner triangles on this, but thus far really happy with how this is coming out. So let me switch up. I do have, hopefully this camera is working. Yes, it is. So let's see. And I was getting myself all confused with this because I need to sew these triangles on a certain direction, which I think it's like this. Let me consult the example. So it'll go like that. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've had to actually rip out stitches on this particular quilt, especially with the side inch setting triangles, because I did add this 4.5 inch crumb square, which made it a little bit more complicating. So but, so what is everybody working on tonight? This will be the first work in progress that I get done this year. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do a lot of these works in progress. Well, actually, this quilt is not really a work in progress, so to speak. It was something that I kind of thought I kind of wanted to do after we did the Churndash block when in the Scraps and Strings and Crumbs series. So I liked how that block turned out, and I said, let's make a whole quilt out of it. And so now I am. Let's see. And okay, so I am sewing a bunch of 4 patches. These 4 patches have nothing to do with the quilt project behind me or that what I'm really working on. I'm just using it as a leader and ender project. So which ones do I want? I want these 2. I want that, and I want another pink. Okay. Kim Burris is saying, remember the thumbs up. Thank you, Kim. And Remo J is saying, loving your looks. Thank you, Remo. Yeah. This weekend I am planning to cut this hair off because it's just getting too long. Sorry, let me just shift this. There you go. Jim Bennett says, nice and clear, even in TV. Okay, thank you. That's good to know, Jim. Donna Hoskins says, Easter eggs, fabric eggs. Okay, I guess that's what she's working on. Kim is saying, it's a beautiful quilt. Thank you, Kim. And Jean Captain Stitches saying she's relaxing with some cross stitch this evening. Clear the mind a bit. I could use some cross stitch, or actually I could use some clearing of the mind tonight, because it's been one heck of a week thus far. Let's see, Jackie is saying she's just watching. Well, okay. Nothing wrong with that, Jackie. I appreciate that. Debbie Ott says she's cutting 2.5 by 4.5 inch strips. Sounds like she's working on a project. Hey, Miss Stephanie. How you doing, girl? You're up late. Sounds like somebody had fun at QuiltCon. And Jackie says she overdid it today cleaning out her sewing corner. Uh-oh. Is somebody doing a declutter challenge? Okay. Okay, so let's see. I want to make this right because I don't want to rip another one, because I've had to rip the first one about 4 times because I kept sewing it on wrong. So, is this right? Yeah, that's right. And we'll sew this. Hopefully this will be the right size triangle. And I did my math correctly. All right. Stephanie Harris says, I know I did, and I'm exhausted. Med's not kicked in yet. How are you? I'm doing good. Was having a little bit of FOMO watching you guys post all those videos at QuiltCon, but well, I don't regret not going. I wish I could have gone, but when I was doing the math, it just wasn't worth it for me to spend all of that money just for a few hours. So, but that's okay. QuiltCon is coming to the West Coast next year, so hopefully I'll be able to get to go to that. Debbie Ott says gonna make potato chip blocks with a Christmas theme. Okay. You know, I've never made a potato chip quilt. Actually, I didn't even know there was a such thing. Interestingly enough, until I saw Brenda, who is conquering Miss Scrapmore, conquering Mount Scrapmore. That's her YouTube channel. Yeah, I didn't know there was a such thing called the potato chip block until she did her video about it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do one. We'll have to see. So I got that piece. This will go in the crumb bin. And Debbie Ott is saying, trying to motivate myself to organize sewing. Too much stuff. Oh, I know the feeling, Debbie. I do know the feeling on that one. Whoops. Sorry about that. The camera times out like that. So every so often it'll do that. Whoop. And let's see. And Stephanie Harris says, that's why I'm glad it rotates coast. This way it's more accessible. It is. That's true. But although in the past 2 years they were both on the East Coast, and then next year they come into the West Coast, and then I think the year after that they haven't officially announced it, but it'll be interesting to see where they go. So Jim Bennett is saying he's putting off squaring up scrap blocks. Uh-oh. Okay. Here's my corner triangle. And this, I put it up in the corner. Let's see. I'll put it there for now. Okay, is this big enough? Oh yeah, it is big enough. So when I did the math on this, I needed a 14-inch square for the two sides. And don't ask me how I figured that out. I just kind of winged it and figured it out somehow. So I need to cut it, cross cut it. Let me iron this. And I am going to cross cut this diagonally. Hopefully this mat is big enough for it. Oh, Jackie has a new embroidery machine. I'm jealous. She says she's making space for her new embroidery machine. My Singer Futura finally gave out about 7 years old. Ooh. Wow, even this ruler's not long enough. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut it, fold it in half, and cut it this way. So this was 14. this is not a 14-inch square. So let me take this and we'll cut it down to a 14-inch square. Turn it this way because it's a little longer than it should be. No, that's 14. That's 13. Okay, so I need to cut it along the 14-inch side. I only need 2 triangles, so I could do this. Shift it down, realign it. Okay, although these triangles are not perfect, they should work. Great, and then I can turn it back this way. And then this should be a 14. Yep, so there's my 14. And there it is. So that's how I did it. Great. This is totally unorthodox. Normally I would actually take this to my bigger cutting board and actually cut this properly, but I'm just using up a big scrap of something or a big scrap to cut the correct size triangle that I need. But usually when I do an inset triangle or even a corner triangle, I will do a square and then cut it diagonally to make 4 smaller triangles. A pretty common technique to do. The hard part is trying to figure out how big the square needs to be so that the triangles will be big enough to fit when you in the sides. So, but you know, hey, you make do when you got to, right? So I just didn't want to waste this particular fabric because this was a pretty nice square, so I figure I could get at least 2 triangles out of it. Okay. So Kimber says she did some shopping today. Have to have lab work tomorrow to make sure new meds are working correctly. Okay. Well, hope everything goes well, Kim. Okay, now is this the bias? Oh, no, no, this is, wait. Oh well. If it's on the bias, it's on the bias. Okay, thank you, Debbie. She says they're just making sure to check for no issues. Okay. Well, pray that there aren't any issues that come out of that, Kim. And Debbie Ott is saying, I don't get much done because I spent a lot of time watching so many tutorials. I think we all fell into that trap once in a while, Debbie, but it's okay. Where did my block go now? Where'd I put it? Did I put it up there? No. That is totally strange. I just had it here. Am I going crazy? I must be. No. Uh-oh. Oh, darn. I totally lost my block. Huh. Found it. Yeah. Something tells me I need to clean out this room. Okay. So let's try this. Goes like that. So I'm going to first sew this one on here. Hey, Sandy. And Stephanie Harris says she played on a Juki industrial machine today. Ooh. Which model was it, Steph? Okay, I'm just going to spin the seam on this one. Okay, and that one is ready to go. One of these days you'll see me do something with all these 4 patches that I'm making. Trying to resist the urge of making an Irish chain block, but we'll do something with it. Did you put it in your scrap? No, actually, I think I just threw it on my iron behind me for some silly reason. Whoops, I'm pressing this the wrong way. And I'm just going to press this out. Finger press that. Well, thank you, Donna. It's nice to know I'm not the only one. Jim's saying my cat is demanding I play with him. Aww. And we'll sew this triangle on. And I did not sew that seam on very straight, but I never said I was. And guess who Nancy says? I'm thinking of I'm going to clear my sewing room out and put it all back in order. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Just take everything out, put it in a spot, sort it all out, and then put it all back together. I've done that a few times. Of course, I usually take everything out and I get kind of sidetracked. It's like squirrel. Do I have another one of those? Yeah, I'll do a matchy. Okay. And then I'll do these ones next. And Jean Captain Stitches says, search for 3 charm packs for 3 days before I finally found them. Okay. I think we've all done that. Or at least I know I definitely have done that. Where you thought you left it in a certain spot and can never find it, and then all of a sudden it just developed its own 2 legs and moved itself. So alrighty, this is the final triangle. Final corner triangle, I should say. If you hear a screech from the east, it's me inside of a tote. Okay. Oh, gosh. And Shirley Kissinger says, that's why my sewing room is called the squirrel den. Too much distractions, huh? I know the feeling. Yes, I know. And Barb McKinley says, it takes me a lot longer than that to find things. Okay, so got my final corner, and I believe, yeah, this is the bias. So I'm cut this incorrectly because there is a biased edge here, but I'm not gonna, well, actually that's okay because I'm actually gonna sew this on the corner, so we're good. All right. And guess who Nancy says, I've tried it by moving everything to one side of the room, but that side never gets finished. Oh, geez. Okay, so let me... I know my mouse is here somewhere. There it is. So here's the thing. Let me type in exclamation question. And let's see if this comes out. It should work. Hopefully it will work. If not, I'll just read out the question. Okay, so what I was doing earlier today, oh, I know why it didn't work, because it's not turned on. Let's try that again. It worked out like you planned it. Yep. Okay, so question of the video. So once in a while, or I try to have some kind of question. If you type in exclamation question, sometimes I have it set up, sometimes I don't. And it's just something to talk about or think about. So earlier today, I was actually just kind of scrolling through YouTube during lunch, and I do subscribe to the PBS channels of various states. Of course, I subscribe to PBS California, and there's a PBS YouTube channel for Hawaii. But there's also a PBS channel for, a YouTube channel for Wisconsin. And today I found a video that the PBS of Wisconsin did, and it was a documentary about Nancy Zieman. And it went into her whole life, not just what you saw on her show, but it went into, well, the moment that she found out that she had a knack for teaching sewing. It went into her physical ailment. It went into how the Sewing with Nancy show got started. And so I found it very, very interesting. Now, I do consider Nancy Zieman as one of my quilting idols. Someone that, she was someone that I learned how to sew from, aside from Jenny Doan of Missouri Star. And since I was never really formally trained in any type of sewing skills, it was pretty much YouTube University, where I was just watching tutorials on how to do stuff, and Nancy Zieman was one of them. So, very sad when she passed away, but her Sewing with Nancy episodes are still up on the YouTube channel, or at least some of them are. And I didn't realize that show of Sewing with Nancy got started in 1982. So that's a long time. And she was not sponsored by anybody. She basically fronted the money to get that show off and running. And so, that's what that was part of the documentary, and that's what I found out about Nancy Zieman's life. And well, if you're interested in watching that, I guess you can search for the PBS Wisconsin YouTube channel, and it'll be on there, or I'll put it in the show notes after this video goes live. But it's very, very interesting to see how she evolved, how the show evolved. She never considered herself a TV personality, but she knew that she had a knack or a passion to teach sewing. So, but who are some of your quilting idols? People that influenced you along your quilting journey? And when I say quilting idols, not necessarily people on TV or not necessarily people on YouTube, but who are the people that influenced your creativity, let's just say. And then, hey, Miss Tiffany. And Jim says he's seen all of her shows. Wow, that's a lot of shows. Jean Captain Stitches says, my quilting is a dear lady passed by the name of Zenobia Perry. I hope I said that name right. An awesome local lady who I quilted around a small quilt frame with when I first started quilting. Okay, hey June. Okay, so Stephanie Harris says, piecing, it was Jenny Doan. Quilting, Angela Walters. And binding, Angel of Halo Inspirations. Ooh. Okay. That's a good one. Yeah, Angela was the reason why, or part of the reason why I wanted to get a long arm. Because I saw what she was doing with it, and she made it look so easy. But of course, we all know it's not that easy. And Donna Hoskins says, she's who I thought about when you asked that question. As a young girl, she picked up things and used it for a microphone. Always thought that she would be on TV. Yep. They actually did talk about that in the documentary that I was watching, where she would just pick up random objects and start holding up the microphone or pretend that it was a microphone. Interesting. Well, one interesting thing that I did that I learned about Nancy was that the show that she produced, or Sewing with Nancy, actually got its start because there was a sewing machine shop that was producing, VHS instructional videotapes about how to set up and how to sew and use the sewing machine. And the shop owner had the crazy idea that, hey, maybe we should do a TV show out of this, or maybe we should just make a season of sewing shows. And so they did a few episodes, and then the shop owner says, yeah, I'm not making any money off of this, so yeah, sorry, end game. But Nancy said, no, I think we're going to try and do something out of this. So that's when she funded everything for the show. Pretty interesting. And I also didn't know she had an adopted son. Okay. Guess who Nancy says my idol is my auntie. Ooh. Kimber says, I started watching her in 1983 and was really upset when we couldn't get PBS for a few years due to our location. Oh, yeah. That's upsetting. June Hansen says, Nancy Zieman and Eleanor Burns. Oh, gosh. Now, those are two opposite characters where Nancy's I would say she's very prim and proper, or she's very not so, well, compared to Eleanor Burns, Nancy Zieman might be a little bit more conservative. Eleanor's a little bit out there sometimes, but we all love her still. And Jim Bennett says, my first YouTube quilter was Tiffany. Okay. And I bet you then found everybody else. Kimber says, my sewing hero is my great aunt who taught me so much more than teachers in school ever did. Quilting is Tiffany and Eleanor Burns. Okay. A lot of Tiffany fans here. And Laura Sup says, my grandmother. She was an excellent sewist. She could sew anything, quilts, clothing, and even bear rugs for my father when his taxidermy work in the 1970s. Interesting. So a lot of family members. Okay. Oh, yes. Barbara McKinley says, don't forget Fonz and Porter. Yep. Mary Fonz and... No, wait. Is it Mary? Well, I forget. But the two ladies, yep, who created the whole quilting empire. And Debbie Ott says, some people on AOL in craft chat rooms back in 2000. Oh. I didn't realize AOL had craft chatting. And Jackie says, Georgia Bond Steele. Where have I heard that name before? Margaret Hassler says, Jenny, Diane, and Tiffany didn't know anyone in my youth that sewed. Neither did I. But somehow I learned. Okay. And Debbie Ott says, many people across our country sent me 6x6 squares with their screen names on them. That's interesting. That's like fabric swap almost. And Barb McKinley says, in a few years, people will say Eric taught me to quilt. Oh, gosh. That's a scary thought there, Barbara. And Shirley Kissinger says, I got the basics from my church friends, then found Donna Jordan and Jenny Doan, and finally Tiffany. Okay. And Donna Hoffler says, Mary Fonz, Liz Porter. Okay, it is Mary. Now, who's the daughter? Is it still Mary? And Tiffany says, mine is everyone that has came into my life since quilting inspired me and are my heroes. Aww. Debbie Ott says, I met my hubby in that chat room. He was a woodworker. Oh. Okay, a little cyber dating. Donna Hoskins says, my dad taught me how to sew and quilt around age 8 or 9. Interesting. Interesting that it was the father that taught you how to sew and quilt. Then again, if you know Angela Walters' story, it was her husband's grandfather that taught her how to sew. I believe it was the husband's grandfather. Okay, what am I doing? Let's see. Okay. And Remo J says, my mother taught me how to hand sew, quilt, and embroidery. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? This can go with this. Snip that. Oh, I should put that aside. Let's put this up on the board. Moving furniture. Whoop. Almost lost the balance there. So we'll take this one. Okay. And guess who Nancy says, Eric? Yes, when we all done the 52 blocks in 52 weeks, you taught me several blocks I never heard about. Oh, okay. Well, glad that you learned something from that. Personally, I learned a lot during that series about quilting, yes, but more or less about how to run a YouTube channel. It's not as easy as it looks sometimes. But thank you for that, Nancy. I love those little surprises in your triangles. Oh, the crumb blocks. Yep. I figure I needed to break up the monotony of all of this fabric, so I said, okay, let's try and see if I can work in some kind of a crumb block or something here so that it's not just all background fabric there. That's how it came out. Now, trying to figure out the math to that was a little bit tricky, but somehow I managed it. Okay, and I'm going to fold this to find the middle. And I'm going to fold this to find the middle. So it is right here. So there is one middle there. Ooh. And middle's there. So I'm going to pin this. Wait. That does not look like it was the middle. Let me try that again. Middle is there. Okay, so there and there. There, that's better. Yep, that looks more correct. So I'll pin it there. And I'm going to pin here at the beginning. in one more time here at the end. And I do see the chat is going crazy right now, so good night, Stephanie. Thanks for stopping by. Debbie Ott says Tiff has taught me a lot, and Jenny Doe. And Laura says, my grandma taught me how to sew on her treadle machine. I inherited it when she passed away and have proudly displayed it in my home now. Gosh, I got horrible memories about my grandmother and her treadle machine. Yeah, let's just leave it at that because I don't want to ruin your image about a treadle machine. Top left needs black sashing strip, I think. Does it? By golly, you are right. So I shall cut another strip for that and sew that on somehow. Okay. I thought it was being cute by trying to do some shortcut with the sashing strips, but that just did not work. So yeah, I should have actually just did one long strip in between all of the rows, but yeah, let's just say it didn't work very well. Oh, seam flipped. Oh, something fell. Lori Clark says, hello, you made it. Late as usual, but that's okay, Lori. Late is better than never. We're glad you made it. Okay, let's have a look at this. Well, first of all, let me cut the extra fabric that's back here. Cut that bulk off. And then I will cut that off there. And I'm going to finger press this back. Okay. Now, before I think I am going to put a smaller sashing or a small border, maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2.5 inch all around the quilt top, and then put a larger 6-inch border, maybe 5 or 6-inch border somewhere. Okay. But what do you guys think of this brown? Because I've been getting comments. Some people like it, some people don't. I guess it is kind of subjective, but with all the other colors in there, for me, it works. But I know, well, Tiffany gave me her opinion about it. She don't like brown anyway. Hey, Pearl. Long time no see there, girl. How you doing? Okay, so that's row 1. Moche is saying, thumbs up, everyone. Stop lurking. Okay, Debbie Ott says, I like it. Suzanne Taylor says, I like it. Mary Jane Ellinger says she likes it. Jim Bennett says, looks good. And guess who Nancy says, I thought it was black. No, this is actually a very, very dark brown. I think it does look black, maybe because the camera's not picking up the color correctly, but it is a very, very dark brown. I don't know if the lighting will, if that makes it any better. Kim Burris says, I kind of like it. It sets off the other colors. Yeah, I kind of think so too. But I did show some of my other quilting friends of this, or show pictures of it, and they're like, why'd you go with that color brown? Donna Hoskin says, looks good. Okay. Donna Hoffler says, nice. And Pearl Medina says, I like the brown. Okay, so I guess it was a good choice. Guess who Nancy says it looks good? Nana Mona says she likes it. Candy Grubstick. I like it, but I also like brown. Brown goes nice with green too. Yeah, it does. It does. I kind of thought that this brown, this darker brown, was almost, it sort of acted like a black without being black, or a black color, I should say. So with all the other brighter colors in this quilt top, I figured this brown might just work. And when I put it next to all the blocks, I said, yep, it works. We're going with it. So there it is. Okay. What am I doing now? I still have yet to sew that one. So this one I believe goes on. You know what? Before I make a mistake, I should put it back up on the board. So let's do that. Okay, so I think I need to sew this corner on first and then sew the row together. Ooh, okay. It's already been an hour already? Wow. Yeah, Debbie, it is, well, this darker brown is kind of a tone on tone. There's a very light and vague print on it. I'm not sure if the camera will capture that, but it's swirls on there. And of course it looks great with that creamish tan too. Yeah, it does. I thought so too. There we go. Here's a riddle. Before I started watching the Nancy Zieman documentary, I was watching some shorts. And I found a video that it was this guy who was doing riddles and asking people if they knew the answer to these riddles. So here's one of them. What flies, or what can fly, but doesn't have wings? Took me a while to figure that one out. And I didn't cheat. Actually, I did. What flies but doesn't have wings? Janice Miller. Hey, Janice. Didn't see you come in. She says that the brown really brings out the other fabrics. Yeah, I kind of think so too. I mean, one of those. This was kind of. I mean, me picking out these colors was just one of those things where you just have to experiment with it, see how the colors work together. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no logic to it either, but it just worked for me. So I said, let's go with it. Susie Hewlett says Tiffany's Quilting Life was watching you weave it before Eric came on. Love it. Okay. Nana Mona says it makes the tan look like a suede material. I think that looks nice. Oh, thank you. Never thought of. Well, kind of does make it look like a suede. Oh, never thought of that. Wow, you guys are fast to figure that out. So what flies but has no wings? It's time. And Kim got it. Susie got it. Donna Huskin says, I know. Suzanne Taylor got it. You know, it took me forever to figure out that answer. Sandra K says, my temper. Probably, especially when the points don't match up. I would agree with you on that one. Oh, hot air balloon. Doesn't have wings, but it can fly. That's true. Nancy got it too. Yeah, I didn't think about the hot air balloon one. Okay. It's past 8:30, so we've been on for over an hour here, guys. So I try to keep the weekdays or Tuesday night, I try to stay on for at least an hour. So I am gonna spin this seam if I can. If I can find where the thread is. There, got it. Wow, this one's really tight. There we go. So I'll iron that one later. Oh, I need to get this one off. Let's see. Let's go with a gray. No, there's another gray there. And I need to use up this purple or this lavender color, so let's do that. So let me finger press this back. Now I'm not pressing these seams in any particular direction. I mean, there's nothing that will really nest on any of these blocks at this point, so I'm just pressing it whatever way makes sense to me at this point. Okay. Guess who Nancy says time, then she says, and a leaf when the wind blows, then she says, and my money. Debbie Ott said, my seam ripper some days. Okay. Good night, Sandra. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, having trouble keeping her eyes open. That's Jackie. Good night, Jackie. Okay, so I'm not going to stay on here too long, but I just want to put this one, well, let me trim this down here. Oh, there. And let me trim this down on this end. Let's use a safe cutting technique, Eric. Not the contortion cutting technique. I'll trim this away. There. And let's put this back up on the board, see what we got. Okay, so well, I'm gonna call it a live tonight, guys. We've been on for a little over an hour, but let's see. Hi. So if there's any last minute questions, you can put it in the chat, or if I missed a question or comment, just put it in the chat again. I'll stay on for about another minute or so. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Tuesday night. I know it's late for some of you. And Donna Hoskins says, don't forget to check your sashing. I won't forget that, Donna. Thank you for reminding me. Debbie Ott says, love the pinwheel. Thank you, Debbie. Judy Hebert is saying good night. We'll have to finish tomorrow. Good night, Judy. We're not staying on that much longer, so. Guess who Nancy says you were reading my mind. Okay. Good night, Nancy. Good night. See you around. Be safe. Thank you, Jam. So, you know, I appreciate you guys joining me here on a Tuesday night. We're just kind of throwing a little bit of or this is me just trying to get this project and this quilt top done. So, yeah, hopefully I'll get it done this week. There's a lot of things on my to-do list this week. So, yeah, but we just get through it one step at a time. So I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight. As always, I understand that you have a whole ton of people that you can follow on YouTube, and yet you decide to spend time with me, and I certainly appreciate that. Have a good evening. Have a great rest of the week. And you all know what I'm going to say, so let's all say it together. Let's all go out there and let's create something. Mwah. Bye for now.